If this game happened all because Egad had a garage sale where he sold off the painting of King Boo, I'm calling it right now. Luigi's Mansion 3 is only gonna happen because he sat on that remote one night and hit the boo button.
Alright, who wants to bet that actually happened? Alright guys, hey everybody, CoolPika here, and welcome back to another Nintendo Direct discussion. It's been about at least 2 days since the Nintendo Direct happened, but better late than never, I suppose? So anyways, let's get started on this discussion here. But to start things off, I've gotten my hands on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country, the story DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, of course, which is something you can get if you downloaded the expansion pack. But if you have not had the expansion pack downloaded by then, well, that's okay. There's a physical copy coming out of that game on September 21st, which you can go and get that when that comes out. So pretty much, this DLC is pretty much a game of its own too. So, wow, wasn't really expecting that. And most of my thoughts on the game so far, well, I can go into a lot of details how I've been enjoying the game so far, but I'm thinking I'm gonna let this footage here show you how I've been enjoying the game. Yeah, just let that sink in for a bit. Okay, but that's enough of that. Let's just get into what's been announced at the Nintendo Direct, shall we? So, beforehand on the previous Direct, I knew that there was going to be a Luigi's Mansion remake on the 3DS, which, pretty nice. Kinda wish it was on the Switch, but, I'm still looking forward to the remake nonetheless. But besides that point, when I first saw that trailer for Luigi's Mansion 3, I almost thought that was the remake they were talking about for a second, but, no. Then I start realizing that that was an entirely new location, and next thing you know, it's like, Luigi's Mansion 3, that title's pretty much in your face like, oh, we're actually gonna get a remake on the Switch. Cool. So, I'm not sure about you guys or not, but I'm actually looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 3, although I guess you can say some may not be thrilled because, Dark Moon had some mixed opinions. I had some people say that they liked it, and I had others that said that didn't like it. I mean, of course, for me personally, in my opinion, I like Dark Moon, but I can't say it's anywhere as great as the original because it did lack some scenes, or should I say some mechanics that the original game didn't have. But there were some scenes I did like about Dark Moon. The ride was still pretty good. Of course, despite the ghosts looking pretty generic, I gotta say that they still have a lot of personality as ever, which, that's still very good. And I personally felt the mansions you got to explore were really creative as well, so it was pretty cool. Though, fun fact, I never got to play the original Luigi's Mansion until last year, back when I was living with a roommate. He had Luigi's Mansion and I got to play through the game. We actually went through to get all the boos, and mostly 100% the entire game, although I don't think we got that S rank we were wanting though. It was a fun time, even though I pretty much sucked at the final boss. So besides all that with my Luigi's Mansion experience, I'm really looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 3. I have a bit of expectations for it, because how good the original is, and how good it is, but not as great as the original is. I have to say, for this game personally, I like to see a mix of scenes of what Dark Moon did and what the original did. And I really like to see some things return from the original. The element mechanicals, that was something that was missed out on back in the original game. But we also had the flashlight mechanics that I hope that makes a comeback too, and maybe some new mechanics too that we can see down the line. And maybe we shouldn't have the ghost be too generic if you know where I'm getting at. Now don't get me wrong here, but as much as how all the ghosts had a lot of personalities, I do like to see like a bit of the ghosts be a lot more creative than how it was in Dark Moon, because in Luigi's Mansion, the ghosts had a lot of creativity and personality, and that's something I want to see more of. Although I'm not sure if we're gonna get to see something like that if the ghosts seem more generic, like Dark Moon. If that's the route they're gonna go, then I'll be okay with it as long as they have a lot of personality to them. Then that is what's gonna be all right with me. But I like to see what other designs they can come up with besides just the same old generic ones they come up with. I mean, as long as they have personalities, it'll be fine. But I like to see how they raise the bar on things a bit, and see how more original we can come up with. Like, have more fun with it, like in Luigi's Mansion 1. That's the kind of... I want to see something like that. Overall, not entirely sure what route is heading with Luigi's Mansion 3, but I know it's going to be coming out next year in 2019, I believe, so it's something to look forward to, and I like to see what they'll offer in this new adventure. So, something else I found interesting as a direct is, so I've been missing a bunch of my Wii games, and one of them has been Kirby's Epic Yarn, and I have no idea where that's at. Well, at this point, I've pretty much given up looking for it, because Nintendo Direct just announced Kirby's Extra Yarn, which has a lot of new features, and one where you can play as King Dedede and Meta Knight. Well, you can't go wrong with that, so at this point, I've pretty much given up on looking for it, and just gonna say, wait for that to come out and play on that. And plus, it's on the go, and that's usually how I roll anyway. I'm kind of a sucker for that. So yeah, that was something else I found interesting. For the most part of this Direct, there hasn't been a lot of new games that's been announced. So far, what's been announced was Luigi's Mansion 3 and Yoshi's Crafted World, which I'll get to that in a bit, but yeah, for the most part, most of the games that were introduced were, we got a bunch of third-party games that, well, I mean, they haven't caught my appeal yet, but that could change over time if for some reason I get into it. I'll get into it, but at the moment, it hasn't been anything that caught to my appeal. And most of the games that they've talked about were games that were already revealed to begin with, and they just decided to show off some of the features from it. But mostly with this discussion, I mostly want to focus on the games that have been announced and what's caught my interest, so I won't really discuss anything that's been announced in a previous Direct. So, let's get into Yoshi's Crafted World. So, Yoshi's Crafted World, I don't have a lot to go off of it, based on when I saw the gameplay, but when I saw the gameplay, it actually looks pretty cool and creative, and, all I can say is, exploring the level backwards. Well, I'm just gonna say, you can't really get any more meta than that. Although, you can't go wrong with Yoshi. Yoshi games are pretty good. Yoshi's Woolly World was pretty good too, although I never got around to play through that. I need to play through that. I need to play that game again sometime. And get around to actually beating it. I need to make that a thing. Remind myself to go play Yoshi's Woolly World and actually beat that. So I see this game being a fun and crazy adventure, so let's just hope Yoshi doesn't commit tax fraud again, otherwise we're gonna get another delay. Please, Yoshi, be a good dinosaur now and do your taxes. So so far that's what's mostly caught my interest. The rest, there's a lot of third-party games that I'm not really familiar with, and oh yeah, I guess a bunch of Final Fantasy games are coming onto the Switch now too, so there's something to look forward to if you're a Final Fantasy fan. But overall, I don't have not much to go off of, besides Luigi's Mansion 3 and Yoshi's Crafted World, and of course Kirby's Extra Yarn, and the original Luigi's Mansion. Oh yeah, Mario and Luigi's Bowser Inside Story remake's out. Oh yeah, my Bowser's Inside Story game is missing. Guess that's something I gotta go buy too. Okay, I feel like there's something else missing, but what is it? Aww. Aww. Oh great, Tom Nook's in charge now. Now we're all... Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to my Nintendo Direct discussion. I know I haven't had a lot to discuss to you about, but But wait a minute. Didn't you forget about the Nintendo Switch Online subscription that you can get now?
It came out today.
Oh yeah, that's out now. Well, let's just say that I have planned to discuss that at a later date. But with that, I will see ya in another video, whatever that may be. Whether that is Let's Play Super Smash Bros. Brawl, The Suspect's Emissary, or another random gaming video. I will see you guys then.